Namaste. Welcome to the Festival of Bharat. My name is Abhishek, and I will be your host today. Recently, we had an interview where we spoke about the Kumbha Abhishekam that will be taking place at the Sri Mahã Vallabha Ganapati Devasthãnam, also known as the Ganesh Temple in Flushing, Queens. And today, once again, I'm joined by Sri Shivacharyarji, the Director of Religious Affairs at the Hindu Temple Society of North America. So today, the topic is about Ganesh Chaturthi. So welcome to the show. Namaste.
Namaste to all of you. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, fine. With the grace of Lord the Ganesha.
Ganesha, right? And I believe tomorrow is Krishna's birthday, so it's an
Yes,
auspicious
yes,
time.
yes, yes. Very nice. Yes.
So, like I mentioned, we're here to talk about the Ganesh Chaturthi. Before we get into the festival, let's speak a little bit about Ganesh himself. So, what is the story of Lord Ganesha's birth?
Okay. It's a good this thing. We are beginning with the birth of Ganesha.
Yeah.
But let me. Lot of people know about Ganesha, and it's a thing based on the Puranas, and they must have seen the television serials and things like that. But
Mhm.
there is a different dimension also for this. Let me try to give a philosophical answer to this.
Okay.
Okay. So we all believe and accept in one Brahman or the
Okay.
cosmic principle, and our aim is to attain moksha, our liberation. Also, we all believe in God's grace and blessings, which will enable us in leading a peaceful life. Of course, in our faith, there are a lot of, I should say, several doctrines and admitted truths that we have various schools of philosophy under one umbrella. So those philosophical systems gave rise to visualization of supreme being in many forms, many signs or symbol or through natural elements. So it is a very comprehensive idea of thinking God. One such form is goddess Parvati, who is treated as the mother of Ganesha. So even though that we all heard about Trinity concept of Brahma for creation and Vishnu for preservation and so on, every god or every supreme entity, whether Shiva or Vishnu or Parvati or Brahma, all the gods have the power to create, power to manifest, unlike human being like us. Okay, so that is why we call it as Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Tirobhava, Anugraha. So Srishti means creation, Sthiti means protection, and Samhara the involution, and Tirobhava obscuration, and Anugraha means a blessing. So Parvati created one such form by her own, because as I said, every god has power to create.
Yeah.
Only human being cannot create singularly. We cannot create another living entity, whereas God has capability in manifesting and in creating everything. So it is Goddess Parvati created Ganesha as one such form. Okay. As similarly, you must have heard about Kartikeya, who is a
Mhm.
creation by Lord Shiva by himself. So similarly, Parvati created Ganesha by herself. Of course, to give a lot of example, if you have heard about Narasimha or Dhanvantari or Ayyappa or Dakshinamurti or Nataraja or Vamana avatars or Rama or even Krishna, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, all are treated as avatars
Mhm.
or manifestations. So there are creations, they are manifestations. So Ganesha is a creation by Parvati herself. Okay. So this creation or manifestation are meant for a particular purpose. There is a necessity behind such creation. So that is all. That is a story about Ganesha. Of course, if you look at the again in a philosophical angle, there is no real birth or death for God, and God is beyond the purview of time and space. For us, we have got time. In US you have different time, in other part of the world different timing, but similarly we are confined with some spaces and time relations, but God doesn't have such things. No space is beyond the space and beyond the time. However, for a common man, for us to understand, there are some legends or Puranas which were revealed to us by a lot of rishis and saints to denote the creation or a manifestation or avatar, has been referred for our understanding as birth. So you can call Ganesha birth on a particular day, or it's a creation by Parvati, like that. So that is about the story of Ganesha,
Uh-huh.
philosophical way.
Okay. So the story that people are more familiar with, can you
Yeah.
kind of run through that a little bit?
Yeah. So there is it is said that there is a dispute between the Ganesha, which was a creation of Parvati, in not allowing Lord Shiva to enter
Mm-hmm.
into the premises, because he follows certain directions given by Parvati.
Mm-hmm.
So since uh, Shiva was not aware about this interruption to enter into the premises, so it is said that he cut the head and things like that. Okay, story, everyone, rest of the story is known by all.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we learn from this?
Yeah.
What is that we learn out of this story, or the purpose? Because as I told you in the last thing, there is a purpose to create certain things by the God, basically for us to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson that we should learn is, every god has power to create, and Parvati being the energy part, the Shakti aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and has attained the status of the god. The Ganesha has attained the the status as god of beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the reason any ritual start with Ganesha Vandana or Ganesha prayer or ritual to Ganesha. So we can infer from this Ganesha story that any another major this thing for innovations. So the story reveals or gives us some kind of take home that in ancient time there is a know-how on organ transplantations
Oh
that
wow.
existed. Okay, so that is a major lessons that you should learn. Okay, then what happened to the and things like that. So that means there was a know-how available during that time, in ancient time, that not only God can create, but God can also do miracles like doing transplantation of organs
Mm-hmm.
from one living entity to another living entity. We are, as per our human uh, scientific advancement, has gone only between organ transplant between human beings, and to some extent animal uh, limbs are used, but such things were available or existed in those days. So I will, as a current generation people, I will look at it, the take home in that way.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty interesting.
Yes.
So that actually brings me to my next question, which is there a symbolic reason for the elephant head? Because
Yeah,
they could have maybe put any head on Ganesha. Is
you're
that
right.
symbolize something in Indian
Yeah.
culture?
You're right. So I think, as I told you, there is a purpose in every creation.
Uh-huh.
There is a moral that God wanted us to learn from that, and he has specifically chosen. He knows, no, because he's a omnipotent, all-knowing God. Obviously knows everything,
Mm-hmm.
but to give us a lesson, he knows, that if he can do the transplantation and then put the elephant head, why it has to be that. See, look at the feature of or significant of elephant. So elephant is known for its memory power. Elephant is known for its remembrance, elephant is known for its recollection of datas. Elephant is known for its consciousness. In fact, I have heard about few real incident from my hometown, that elephant do remember a people or person whom it crossed through in its lifetime, even after a gap of 20 years.
Mm.
There would have been a lot of changes. Suppose if I happen to see an elephant at the age of 5, but even if I go at the age of 25, it can remember me.
Uh-huh.
It knows who am I. So
Mhm.
that is a kind of consciousness. That is a kind of, because even though as a human being we cannot recognize, if somebody I see at 5 years old and if he's now I'm seeing after 25 years, even
Mhm.
we may not be able to recognize. But elephant has a capability of recognizing
Uh-huh.
things. So such is the memory power that it has got.
Oh.
So maybe there is a logic behind specifically, choosing the elephant head uh, to be replaced as a Ganesha's head.
Mhm. Okay, that's very interesting.
Yes.
So, I mean, so like you mentioned, Lord Ganesha is celebrated as the god of wisdom, and many times he's depicted with Saraswati Devi and Lakshmi Devi. So, is
Yes.
there a reason for this? Is it like wisdom and then knowledge and wealth kind of go hand in hand together?
Okay. Okay. So I think I should once again recall the first question on the
Uh,
philosophical system.
right.
Okay, which gives rise to visualization of supreme being, because human being has some kind of uh, you know unless and until I see it, I don't tend to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mentality human being has got. Unless I see it, I don't believe. Unless I touch it, I don't believe. Unless I experience it, I don't believe. Unless I taste it, I don't believe. Unless I uh, uh, you know go and have some relationship and then extract informations, I don't tend to believe. Experimenting, is it not? Unless I
Yeah.
experiment it, I don't. So such is the kind of mentality we have. And the creation of Ganesha has, has actually a lot to tell us. Okay, as I also told you, we have various paths and various, like how our Shankara, Adi Shankara, has given us Shanmata Stapana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you follow a Shaiva path, anything and everything for me is Shiva. If I follow Vaishnava path, anything and everything is Vishnu.
Mm.
Similarly, if I follow Ganesha, Ganapatya, under this system, anything and everything is Ganesha for me. So, like that, you choose your supreme being and you get all your needs satisfied through that path. So, that is one of the reason. If you see the Ganesha's thing, like you say Bhala Ganapati,
Mm.
that means childlike looking Ganapati. The visualization could be a childlike person, or Taruna Ganapati, we say. That means youthful guy. Taruna Ganapati means youthful.
Mm.
Or Veera Ganapati, that means he's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
I can visualize Ganapati as a Shakti Ganapati. Shakti, the power, energy, powerful man. Yeah, one who is very powerful. Or Vigna Ganapati, the Lord who can remove all the obstacles and create obstacles. Kshipra Ganapati means quickly, answer my prayer, or
Mm.
quickly give me boons. Kshipra. Okay. So, like that, there is a Lakshmi Ganapati and
Oh.
there is a Vidya Ganapati. So, Lakshmi and Vidya means Saraswati.
Oh. Okay.
So, Lakshmi Ganapati means one who blesses success and wisdom. So, similarly, Vidya Ganapati means one who blesses the knowledge.
Okay.
So, like that, I can keep going on. So, it is following a Ganapatya thing. Anything and everything is Ganesha.
I see.
Okay. So, that means of course, for every form or sign or symbol or philosophy of this Ganesha, there are some Mula mantras, there are Bija mantras, which you can understand it. But since this is a common, but I would like to give an answer which is for the same question in
Mhm.
different dimension.
Okay.
Okay, so look at it in another dimension. We all in that story itself, it says Ganesha is the foremost or god of beginning and things like that.
Mhm.
And since you also linked Ganesha with Lakshmi and Saraswati,
Mhm.
so that's the reason why I thought I will look at it in another dimension.
No, no, that's right.
Okay, see, you in any house, in any dwelling unit, in any temple, you will find Dwara Devatas. Dwara means entry. Entry point, the first point, you will find Ganesha, Lakshmi, and Saraswati are invoked at the, like similarly at the entrance of a shrine or a Moolasthana or Garbhagraha or prime shrine in a temple. If you see the top of the entrance, you will normally people put only Lakshmi in center. Actually, you are supposed to put three god in that.
Mhm.
The Lakshmi at the center, and Ganesha on the right side of Lakshmi, and Saraswati to the left side of Lakshmi.
Mhm.
So Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganesha. Then you may ask, normally people think about Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati.
Mhm.
Why Ganesha coming here? You see, what is the aspect of Ganesha? Is a Parvati. Shakti aspect.
Mhm.
Okay, Durga is also a Shakti aspect. But Ganesha has been given boon by Lord Shiva as god of beginning, the first god. So you have Durga, Lakshmi, and Ganesha at the entrance of any house. So that is the reason why in our practice or in our culture, whenever you enter a house, you don't enter the straight. You always bow and then enter.
Mhm.
You know, even when you want to enter a shrine or enter a puja room, okay, you are not supposed to go uh, with even a head straight. You have to bow and then go.
Mhm.
The reason is on at the entrance, Ganesha, Lakshmi, and Saraswati are invoked as a Dwara Devata. So you have to bow your head and then pass through.
Uh-huh.
So the reason that is the reason this also tastes. There is a connection between Lakshmi, Ganesha, and Saraswati in this way as
Okay.
a main Dwara Devata
Oh,
at the
okay.
entry point itself. Okay, so you can't miss this.
No, that's amazing. No, that's very insightful. I've always wondered why they were always depicted together like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now here's another question about the symbology of Ganesha, which is
Hmm.
his vahana or vehicle is actually a mouse. So
Yes.
is there a meaning behind that?
Very, very good question. In fact, everybody ask this question, and this is
Uh,
um, the presence of a tiny mouse in front of Ganesha, which is used as a vahana for elephant-headed god.
yeah.
Okay, so it's people think what is this? It doesn't gel.
Right.
Okay, but you have to look at it in a philosophical way. What it tries to tell us. So the Vedic text compares the tiny mouse, compares it with our mind, human mind,
Hmm.
with Sukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha. You know, if you look at it, you neither see the complete full moon or a new moon, Amavasya or Purnima, except that one day.
Hmm.
That is on the Purnima, you can say full moon. On the new moon, you don't see the moon, zero moon
Hmm.
or new moon. All other days, it is viewed by us, even though the size or the shape doesn't vary of the moon.
Uh-huh.
But when you view it from the earth, you cannot view the full moon all days. At the same time, you don't see the Amavasya all days. So we say in every 15-day cycle, it is in a waxing and waning state.
Mhm.
Okay, so during Sukla Paksha, you see the moon slowly, gradually improving and coming to the full moon, and during the Krishna Paksha, gradually doing it. So what does mean is our human mind also functions in the same way. It's in a wavering state.
Mhm.
Always our mind keep wavering. So it does not stay in a stable status. So similarly, a performance of a mouse or a tiny mouse is another perfect example of this kind of behavioral or nature.
Mhm.
It's very wavery. You will if you know it keeps moving very fast and no
Right.
it doesn't stay and all. But what is the story that we have to take in this Ganesha and mouse, tiny mouse is if you notice the mouse in front of Ganesha does not do any don't feel that it is wavering.
Mhm.
It waits for the master's sanction or master's direction or master's instruction. Who is the master for mouse? Is the Ganesha. Such is the kind of deep concentration one could experience if you stand and pray in front of Ganesha. So our mind would be in a perfect status, concentrated status, and it will be absolutely under your control if you stand in front of Ganesha and
Mhm.
meditate and pray in front of him. So also our desires and determinations, it doesn't waver. You don't keep change your objectives. You doesn't change your desires quite often. You will be fixed mind. You know the path. You will be able to narrow down to your requirements.
Mhm.
So this is to control your wavering mind.
Wow.
So you have to stand in front of. So this is something to do with uh, wavering requirements. Okay,
Mhm.
so desires and determinations. So this is the perfect this thing, like how a mouse very diligently or religiously, without, otherwise the mouse will keep going here and there, but in
Right.
front
Right.
of Ganesha it just stands still. So
And it
our mind,
represents the human mind. Right. Okay.
human mind.
And
So
the
that is a
wisdom from Ganesh is what keeps you
correct.
stable.
Correct. So the
Right.
wisdom
Right.
of Ganesha makes us to focus our mind
Mhm.
properly.
Okay.
So that is the reason we have to take from this uh, form or sign of Ganesha and mouse.
Mhm.
And Ganesha controls the mind. Ganesha controls your desire, controls, and then or controls in the sense that he makes you to do properly, plan properly. So
Okay.
that is why a mouse, Ganesha is using as a vahana and standing on it.
Okay. That's what that symbolizes. I see.
Yes.
Yeah. At surface level, it's hard to understand, but that makes sense for sure.
Yes.
So thank you for that answer. Um,
Yes.
so we kind of spoke about this a little bit already. Um, yeah, like you mentioned how Ganesha attained the status as the original an original Lord that we pray to. Is there anything else you want to add to that about why we pray to him first?
Okay. So as I said, the if you look at the story of Ganesha, Ganesha has been given a boon that he will be the god of beginning.
Mhm.
By no, this boon was given by Lord Shiva when the Ganesha happened to become an elephant-headed entity.
Mhm.
From that was the time he gave this boon. Okay, now I will just move little away,
Okay.
and then why we talk about Ganesha first. Anything that we do, okay. So just look at so the Veda, with the Vedic text talks about seven layer above the earth and seven layer below the earth.
Mhm.
The upper layer is called as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, like that. There are 7 layers. Similarly, look at the lower world. Lower world is called as Athala, Vithala, Suthala, Talathala, like that. It keeps going Pathala, Pathala Loka. There are 7 layers down. Under even the Nagaloka is said to be even below the Pathala Loka. So one is higher layer and lower layer. Why I am telling you this? Our planet Earth is treated as a Punya Bhumi, Deva Bhumi, and so such is the status given to the planet Earth, and we are all, blessed to be born in this planet Earth. So, because of such reason, you will see devas manifest or come to the earth. And you know how they come from the higher world? Of course, it's always said that the devas comes from the higher world, the asuras or ganas come from the lower world. It is said in all the legends and in Vedic text that devas comes from the higher world, from the Ishana Mula, Ishana corner or northeast corner. Okay, the demons and bhutaganas and other thing comes to the earth from the lower world, from the Nirriti Bhaga. Nirriti means southwest.
Oh, okay.
Southwest, lower world comes up, and northeast, higher world comes down. But there is also a coincidence. If you look at to reach the higher world, always the satellite is launched from the northeast corner.
Oh.
To reach the higher world, because that is the best route to go to higher world. But to go to the lower world, southwest corner is the best to go underworld.
Okay.
So, for this is something away from the main subject. So, why I'm telling you is, you go to any typical temple, authentic temple. For example, let us take a Shiva temple. If you go to Shiva temple, you will find the Shiva is the Pratana Devata or Molasthana, and Ganesha would have been installed in the Nirriti Bhaga, which is southwest corner. Now you go to Vishnu temple, any Maha Vaishnava temple, you will find on the northeast corner, you will find Visvaksena, which is also a Ganesha, or Tumbikayalvar is installed. You know the reason why it is installed? No. Anyone coming from the higher world have to, like how I told you, when you enter a house, you have to bow your head and enter. Because there is a Dwara Devata, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganesha is there. So you have to first pray and then enter. Similarly, when the Devas entering the planet Earth, similarly the Asuras coming from the bottom world, lower world to the earth, they have to first seek permission from Ganesha.
I see.
So even Devas coming from the higher world have to seek permission from Ganesha or Visvaksena. Then only they can enter to the earth. So that means not only entering your house or entering the temple, even the soul enters to this earth, have to seek permission from Ganesha.
I see.
So that is the concept in the temple. You go to Shiva temple or Vishnu temple, you will find on the southwest, and anyone coming up from the lower world to higher world, they first ask Ganesha, Ganesha, I am coming to this earth. Could you allow me? Can I have your permission to come? So Ganesha will decide to allow or not. Similarly, if Devas coming down to the earth in the northeast direction, the Ishana Mula, all Devas have to first seek permission to the Ganesha. So this is the Vedic reason why Ganesha is the first god.
I see.
Even though in Puranas it says any puja you do, first you do Shuklam, Bharadaram, Vishnum, or first you say Gananantva, like that. First you pray Ganesha. But this is the Vedic reason. There are a lot of Puranic reason. The Ganesha Purana talks about it. Okay. So this is the reason why Ganesha is first everywhere, whether at home or at temple or at for all other devatas too. Not only devatas, even to asuras. Everyone have to go through Ganesha. They cannot avoid.
I
So he
see.
is the first god. He is the god of first, god of beginning.
I mean, that's why he was created in the first place, right? To
Yes.
give the permission for Lord Shiva
Yes.
to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Wow.
Yes.
So I'm glad you shared all these answers with us because that gives us a good understanding of who Lord Ganesha is. And so
Mm.
now let's speak about Ganesh Chaturthi. Right. So what is the
Mm.
origin of Ganesh Chaturthi? Some people say it started with Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the king of the Maratha Empire. It started with him, or at least he was credited for popularizing the festival. So could you maybe speak about the origin of the festival?
Okay. See, the origin, if you take, the origin is when Parvati created the Ganesha. That is the origin.
Okay.
And the Purana, what it does is it gives you the planetary position on the at the time that creation was cited by a second person or third person,
Hmm.
which is called as the Avatara day or Avatara Dina or the Darshan time. When did Ganesha gave first darshan,
Hmm.
or when did Ganesha appeared for as a vision, or when Ganesha took the avatar? So when I say when, it has to be related to a time. So the time recorded by Puranas,
Hmm.
or see in during the Vedic period and Puranas period, there are two way of referring. One is they refer a tithi or refer a star, nakshatra.
Hmm.
But as a human being, we always refer to a day of birth with nakshatra and day of death for tithi,
Hmm.
just to differentiate. And God doesn't have a birth and death, no?
Right.
So how can you say birth star or death tithi? You cannot say that.
Hmm.
But still, to refer to the time, you need to refer either through nakshatra or through tithi, because that was the kind of calendar system followed in ancient time.
Okay.
So it so happened that it is the month of Bhadrabata in lunar calendar, and it is the waxing phase of the moon, fourth day. Because I said no, you can't see the moon
Hmm.
every day in the same position. So they calculated the day as fourth day, which is Chaturthi. Chaturthi means fourth day.
Okay.
So Sukla Paksha Chaturthi, it is already there in the legend says about it. So that is considered as the month, and tithi is given to you. So every year on the Bhadrapada month, Sukla Paksha Chaturthi is Ganesh Chaturthi.
Uh,
But the same thing, see, when you consider all other devatas, they refer only to one day. But if you look at Hanuman, they refer three such dates in a year.
mhm.
Similarly, for Ganesha, they give two different dates. When they say Chaturthi, there are two Chaturthi happens. Under waxing phase, one Chaturthi, and under waning phase, there is one Chaturthi. In
Hmm.
Sukla Paksha, there is a Chaturthi, and Krishna Paksha also there is a Chaturthi. So the Sukla Paksha Chaturthi is considered as a Ganesha's birthday on Bhadrapada month. But on the Shankatahara Chaturthi,
Mhm.
the Krishna Paksha Chaturthi is called as Sankatahara Chaturthi. Because you say in Ganapatyam, it says, is the god of obstacle.
Hmm.
He is the god who will remove the obstacle. And he knows how when to create obstacle to you. So that is Sankata. Hara. All your sankatas, all your problems will get resolved or solved. Hara, okay, relieved of from your trouble. On which day? Chaturthi day. So Krishna Paksha Chaturthi day is treated as a Sankatahara Chaturthi, and Sukla Paksha Chaturthi is is the favorable date for favorable tithi for Ganesha.
Okay.
So that is there. But what happened? Because your question is trying to link Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj.
Mhm.
See, the Maratha Empire, sorry, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, he said to revive the Ganesh Chaturthi celebration in his kingdom with
Mm.
great enthusiasm, because Ganesha is their Kula Devata. See,
Right.
initially I told, no, it's a visualization of God.
Mhm.
So there are different things. There is a Kula Devata, there is a Grama Devata, there is a different devatas that you have a favorite deity,
Mhm.
a family deity, or the supreme deity. There are different things. So Ganesha happens to be the Kula Devata for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj family. So he revived this Chaturthi as a celebration. So that's all. It's only revival of thing. He didn't started it.
Okay. Okay.
So he revived it and celebrated in a gala manner, in a
So he
great
played an important role in bringing it back
in popularizing it.
popular. Yes. Okay. Okay. Very interesting. Huh?
Okay.
So now, why is there 10 days of Ganesh Chaturthi, and what are they for?
Okay. Okay. See, normally in those days, the celebrations are uh, done expanding to multiple days.
Mhm.
Not only the Ganeshas, you take your home related rituals. For example, wedding ceremony.
Mm.
In say 40 years ago, when I got married, it was a 5 day ceremony. My
Okay.
marriage was 5 day ceremony, and there were even 7 days ceremony. The wedding ceremony
Mm.
extends to 5 days, 7 days, like that. Similarly, nowadays it has become a 2 day and 1 day, or even 3 hours time. So, but there are days. So, similarly, any festival or Diwali is again Navaratri 9 days,
Right.
Dashara 10 days, Shivratri again. Then similarly, Vasanta Navaratri. So all most of the events and festival in those days were celebrated for multiple days,
Mm.
because that is the community event. Those time
Right.
is a festival event in any town or village. So any festival expands more than 5 days. They called it as Mahotsava.
Okay.
But while the same event in a temple is, if it is observed for 9 days or 10 days or 15 days period, it is denoted as Brahmotsava. And every day's observation is centered around a different theme
Mm.
chosen from the same Purana or legend or Itihasas or Agamas. So choose the theme from that and celebrate for multiple days. But typically in a temple, there would be what they do in all these days. There would be different decorations or alankaras for the murti, and uh, there will be event where everyone will participate in prayer, in meditation, in chanting the Mula mantras. For example, we used to conduct every year Chatur Laksha Japa. So that many times the Mula mantras are chanted jointly by all the devotees, and along with the priest
Mhm.
who will be doing when the devotees are chanting Mula mantra, the priest will do the same mantra. He will do the ahuti and do the fire service or the homa or havan
Mhm.
ritual. Then there is also event theme engaging children
Mhm.
by practically making them to do a Ganesha puja, so that they understand the concept of Ganesha, and culturals are arranged. And of course, any grand festival will always ends with some great event. So
Mhm.
it will end with some procession or uh, you know parade, where
Okay.
the beautiful alankara of Ganesha is made to have a seat in the chariot or ratha,
Okay.
and
Right.
then marching toward the street, and then with music, dance, and things like that. So that is the reason. It all depends on the local tradition, and uh, like that. No, they will celebrate for 1 day or 3 days or
Okay.
5 day or 9 day, 10 day. We used to call our this thing like Navadina Mahotsava, Navadina Brahmotsava, like that.
Okay.
So that is how it is. Multiple days it is celebrated. So we still, since ages, this practice has been followed.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. So during the 10-day ceremony,
Mm.
I believe there's different plants that are offered to Ganesha, different flowers.
Yes, yes.
Is there a meaning behind the specific plants, or do you have to do a certain plant on a certain day?
Okay. Okay.
Is
See
there?
what? Yeah, yeah, you are right.
Okay.
It's a fantastic question. And when I said different decoration and costumes are offered to Ganesha during prayer, you are supposed to offer patram, pushpam, palam, toyam.
Okay.
Patram means patra. That means leaf,
Mm,
leaf from the plant. Patram, pushpam. Pushpam is flowers.
mm,
Palam, fruits. Toyam, liquid items like water, milk, yogurt, and then payasam, all those
mm,
like that. So patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, like that. So like that, like panagam, they are all water based thing. No? So these are all is offered. But since you asked about the plant,
mm.
especially for Ganesha, again everything is philosophically you have to look at it. Every deity there are different specific plants or leaves are used, but for here the plant and leaf is same.
Oh.
The plant and leaf. So before going to that, I like to say, when you do a prayer to Ganesha, what Ganesha expect or what you are expected to do is be simple, be simple, and but be sincere.
Okay.
A simplicity and sincerity is what expected in the prayer of Ganesha. So they are the main concern in terms of offerings to Ganesha. So when I say simplicity, so the leaf that it is, or leaf and plant which is same, which is used to please Lord Ganesha, because he likes simplicity only.
Mhm.
So the Durva grass is offered.
Okay.
And Durva grass, you don't need to plant them, you don't need to water them. It grows on its own
Oh wow.
everywhere across the world, including desert place also. You can see.
Mhm.
You can see the Durva grows everywhere. So it is as simple as you can just pluck one of the Durva grass, and offer it as a patram
Mm.
and offer your worship.
Okay.
Of course, people may ask, if I have for patra, what are the other offerings like modaka, which is very popular. When you look at Ganesha, means modaka, kodukattai or modaka. So, which is a sweet dish, which is again philosophically what does it represent is a joyous reward for seeker.
Oh.
Like people say, let us cut a cake, or let us share with some chocolates and things
Right.
like that. So similarly, in those days, modaka is very familiar because it's a sweet dish. So
Okay.
which represents the joy, or a reward for the seekers.
Yeah.
So after your prayer, the sweet dish is given to you as a joy, because you got your prayer answered there.
Okay.
So, but be simple and be sincere. So the Durva grass refers to simplicity.
Nice.
No need to go and even buy from the market. It will be there anywhere. You can just
Okay.
simply pluck it and offer it.
No, so that's actually explains why Ganesh he always has in one of his hands he'll have like sweets, right? So
Yes,
so that symbolizes the sweet reward that you're getting.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
for the seeker.
yes,
Right, very cool, very nice. So now you also mentioned that we take the Vigraha out and put it in the chariot for the
mm,
Yatra, and I think
yes,
they also do something similar with other deities. If I'm not mistaken, they do it in the Jagannath temple.
yes,
They do
yes,
a ceremony similar to that. Is there a
yes.
meaning behind the chariot?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. See, chariot is like it's ending the final day,
Mhm.
or the important day, or on the specific day. Of course, all the festival will run into number of days.
Right.
On the day of important, the out of 9 days or 10 days, out of 5 days, that a day which will be grand among other days.
Mhm.
It will be in a very grand manner, it will be performed, so that there is more congregation, there is more people come and enjoy and seek the blessings. So Ratha Yatra refers to the grand ceremony of that festival period.
Mhm.
Okay. But look at the, because you wanted to know why do we do this Ratha, and why it is in a grand way. The very foremost reason that Ganesha is taken around the street in decorated Ratha is
Mhm.
to ensure showering of blessings to one and all in the neighborhood,
Uh,
as many of the people or many of the locals may or may not be in a position to physically come to the temple
I
due
see.
to various reasons. So it is the facility created by our ancient, our ancestors as part of this kind of festival is to take the murti. Normally we go to temple for worship, we go to temple
Mhm.
for prayer. But here the devata is taken outside
Okay.
so that the blessings are home delivered. So
That's
the
awesome.
so that is the foremost reason that even people who are not able to come to temple will also should get blessed.
Mhm.
So that is the uh, um, foremost reason, number one. So
Okay.
that is why it is being taken in a grand way outside, number one, because it's a murti, it's a,
Yeah, yeah.
we are transferring the energy of Mula Murti to a Utsava
Mhm.
Murti and taking it. Nobody will take the Mula Murti
Uh-huh.
because you cannot disturb that.
Yeah.
So there is a metallic deity which represents the Mula Murti, and then that is taken out for
Okay.
the procession. Okay. Now, the second most reason that I could think of
Mhm.
is that, see, every citizen is given equal opportunity
Mm.
to pull the Ratha. Normally Ratha will be pulled by a very lengthy rope.
Right.
Of course, it's not a machine driven Ratha, or it is not a motorized Ratha. It is a hand driven Ratha.
Right.
So all the people, community, jointly together pull the rope, which is
I
the which will pull the Ratha throughout the procession.
Uh-huh.
So all are focused. Initially I told, in front of Ganesha,
Yeah, yeah.
your determination, everything, focused. So all are focused in driving the Ratha and
Mhm.
seek the blessings. So, and here you don't feel any discrimination, any
Right.
difference between all. All are equal, whether child or elderly person or a youthful person or faithful or not faithful. Everyone is given an opportunity to pull. That is one of the reason the Ratha is made in a big size.
Mhm.
If it is in a small size, only 5 people, 10 people enough, no, to pull it.
Yeah, yeah.
Why it is huge? It is bigger enough, and it should be manually pulled. And because it is the size is huge, you need thousands of people to pull it.
Wow.
So this is to give equal, to show that Ganesha gives equal opportunity to all,
Okay.
and he does not discriminate anyone. All are equal for him.
Yeah, we're all the same in front of Bhagwan.
Bhagwan. So
Yeah.
this is what I feel as the second reason. But of course, there are so many other purposes for doing such. Because I also told you that it is done in as a grand manner.
Mhm.
So why that is in a grand manner? Because it is treated like a parade or opportunity to enjoy
Right.
by singing, by dancing, by playing musical instrument. And not only that, it gives opportunity to meet people in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, on the street. You don't need to go to his house, and they don't need to come to your house. You meet everyone on the road, on the street. So
Right.
there's an
Okay.
opportunity to meet people, each other, whether known or unknown. You all, because you're all together, no,
Mhm.
putting your effort to pull the ratha.
Yeah, yeah.
And you also can exchange greetings, exchange of energy, exchange of greetings. And not only that, you can make friendship.
Oh wow, that's
I
beautiful.
can so
Yeah.
the list goes bigger. So that is the reason the in one of the important day of any festival there is a grand ceremony where
Uh-huh.
entire community is made to involve.
Is it
So
a
that
way
is
to also like it kind of reminds the citizens that we need to work together in a
together.
sense?
Yeah, team spirit.
Yeah, that's
Management
amazing.
technology says team spirit is
Yeah.
required for to desire for a single desire for all of us.
Oh,
Okay, see the kind of uh, uh, thought process our
yeah,
ancestors
amazing.
had.
So, I mean, thank you very much for that answer. So, let's talk about the Ganesh Temple in Flushings. So, when was the first Ganesh Chaturthi done at this temple?
From the day it was incepted,
Oh,
the
wow.
inception, from the time the temple got inception in the year 1977, every year without any stoppage in between. Even during the COVID period, the difficult period, we still continued the
Mhm.
Chaturthi. It's a non-stop.
Oh, amazing.
So since the inception till date, it has been observed by us. Of course, this is all for the benefit of the people, for the community.
Hmm.
So we do it.
So,
So
so my final question would be, since in this year in particular, we also have Kumbha Abhishekam happening around the
yes,
same time.
yes,
So, what arrangements are being done for this year's Ganesh Chaturthi? Because
yeah, yeah,
there's a lot to feels like
yes,
there's a lot to handle.
yeah, yeah. It's a two event, two in
Yeah,
one.
yeah, exactly.
So Ganesh Chaturthi and Kumbhabhishekam. See, this year Chaturthi is quite different from other year.
Hmm.
Earlier, we have been celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi exclusively Chaturthi.
Okay.
But what happened? Why it is different from other years? Because we are conducting Mahakumbhabhishekam
Yep.
in between Chaturthi festival. So, because of this inclusion of Mahakumbhabhishekam into the normally we celebrate as Navadinam Brahmotsava.
Hmm.
It elongate to 9 days, but because of this Kumbhabhishekam also is coming in between, it is elongated. It is now 14 days.
Hmm.
It is expanded to 2 weeks. So we'll start with Ganesh Chaturthi, we'll continue with Mahakumbhabhishekam, and again continue with Chaturthi.
Oh,
Because Ratha Yatra can be a grand festival at the end. The
okay.
Kalyana Utsava will also be towards the end like that. So that is why this year's event is 14 days program.
No.
Vis-a-vis Navadina Brahmotsavam. This year it is a 14 days it is a grand Utsavam, I should say,
Uh-huh.
along with Kumbhabhishekam.
Oh, that's
That's it.
amazing. So,
Mhm.
is there any closing remarks you'd like to make about if people want to come to the temple during Ganesh Chaturthi, what benefits will they get, and anything like that you want to close with?
You see, the uh, Ganesha, as I told, is a god of beginning,
Hmm.
and our temple being the foremost temple or first temple in the country.
Hmm.
And this Ganesha, Mahã Vallabha Ganapati, is the Kula Devata for those who migrated into this country.
Oh,
Because this is the first temple, first Murti, Ganesha, and Ganesha is the god of beginning. And anyone who comes to US or this continent,
all right.
so for them, Kula Devata is this Ganesha.
Oh, okay.
So such is the kind of feeling that you will have. So not only that, even look at the location in the New York City is very close to the JFK.
Hmm.
New York is a commercial capital for US,
Yeah.
and because of such thing, it's geographically people across US have to pass through New York for various reasons.
Hmm.
Whenever they pass through New York, obviously they'll touch upon either JFK or
LaGuardia.
LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. Yeah. Yeah.
And our temple is exactly in between
Oh, wow.
LaGuardia and JFK. So one has to pass through this temple.
Wow.
So, like I said, when you enter enter a house,
Yeah.
enter a temple, you have to bow your head and enter to your house, enter to the temple.
I
Similarly, when you
see.
enter to the commercial capital of the US, you have to go through this temple.
Uh-huh.
Such is the importance of this temple. So everyone, I will request, come and have the experience of this foremost temple and the God of beginning, and get the blessings from Lord Ganesha. Uh, Even the Rig Veda, which is considered to be the uh, ancient among other Veda, or even uh,
So the most.
oldest among
Yeah, yeah.
above all the four Vedas, Rig Veda.
Mhm.
Even Rig Veda, if you look at the very second mandala, and 23rd sukta, very first mantra in that sukta start with Ganana antva Ganapati Gumhavamahe Kabim Kavinam Upavasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannotibhisi Dasadhanam. It says Gananantva Ganapatim. Even Rigveda talks about Ganapati in the very first sloka of 23rd Sukta. Even you take Upanishad, you take Taittiriya Upanishad, you take Ganapati Atharva Sirsha Upanishad, which even narrates, because you said, even though we saw the Ganesha Purana, Ganesha is with elephant head.
Mhm.
But if you look at the Ganesha, Atharva Sirsha Upanishad and Taittiriya Upanishad, it always says Ekadantam, Chaturhastam, Pasham Ankushadharinam, Abhayam Varadam Hastair, Bibranam, Mushakadhvajam. Mushakadhvajam, it says there is a Mushika in front of
Uh-huh.
Ganesha. There is a Ekadantam. Which animal has a Ekadantam? Which living entity
Right.
has Ekadantam? Is elephant. So Ganesha is with elephant head.
Mm.
Even the Upanishad says that.
All right.
So such is the beauty of Lord Ganesha. So I thought I will end with this Veda mantra, so that people will be aware about it. So it's very, of course, Ganesha stories and Ganesha's concept has never been changed over years.
Mhm.
But the way of celebration has undergone a lot of changes. Okay,
Uh-huh.
uh, we we were told to use only the clay Ganesha in those days, but today we find plaster of Paris Ganeshas,
Mm.
plastic Ganeshas, which is spoiling the nature. We are all talking about the climate change.
Right.
So please go to the source of this. Use only clay Ganesha and save the climate,
Mhm.
save the planet. Don't use chemicals. Don't use fiberglass Ganesha. Don't use plastic Ganesha. Don't use uh, such chemical, and so use only organic materials. Use only clay, real clay Ganesha, and offer
Mhm.
the prayers, so that the ocean doesn't get spoiled,
Yep.
the environment doesn't get spoiled, because the modernity and things like that, people find it very easy. We know,
Mhm.
all of us are finding problem with plastic material.
Right.
Okay, how our climate is being affected because of
Right.
this. Yeah. So that's all I would like to talk about. Ganesha.
Definitely. No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you for your time, Sri
Thank you.
Shivacharyar.
Thank you.
And I hope I'll to see you at the temple as well when for Ganesh
Please,
Chaturthi.
please, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. We hope you enjoyed this Chitti Media content. Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.